Today I'll be talking about the environmental effects of oil spills. To start off, what exactly do we picture when we see oil spills? Maybe we see images of blackened oil-tainted waters and beaches, dead and dying fishes, and oil-coated seabirds. An oil spill is the release of a liquid petroleum product, such as crude oil, refined petroleum, such as gasoline, or diesel fuel into the environment. Even though most oil spills are the result of human activities, some result from natural causes. The most devastating oil spills happen in the marine environment, but the oil spills could occur in rivers, deserts, and other environments as well. So what exactly causes oil spills? One of the reasons are man-made spills, which are the result of human activities. According to Southeastern Louisiana University, oil spills that occur in the Earth's waterways tend to draw the most attention and send more than 300 million gallons of oil into North American waters every decade. Examples include oil tankers colliding with each other or other maritime objects, oil tankers getting stuck in shallow waters and breaking up or having a hole punched in them, and illegal dumping of oil products into the environment. Another cause of oil spills are natural oil spills. So these come from a natural petroleum seep, which is a place where liquid or gaseous hydrocarbons escape to the ground surface or the ocean floor. This seepage comes from the buried oil and gas buildup, which escapes through the fractures in the Earth's rocks or directly from rock outcrops. The oil seeps were one of the first tools that were used to locate new oil resources before scientists and geologists created equipment. It is not known how vast the effects of the natural oil seeps in oceans are, but it is accepted that the contamination caused by natural seeps is greater than the contamination caused by man-made events. According to the National Research Council of the U.S. National Academy of Sciences, natural oil seeps contribute the highest amount of oil to the marine environment, accounting for 46% of the annual load to the world's oceans. So how do oil spills spread? As oil is less dense than water, spilled oil sits on the surface. It spreads out and is pushed across the water by wind and currents. It spreads across the water's surface to form a thin oil slick. As it spreads, the slick becomes thinner and thinner, finally becoming thin enough to look like a rainbow. If the oil is heavy, it can sink and be harmful to marine life. One of the major oil spills that is related to marine environments is the Axon Valdez oil spill. The Axon Valdez oil spill, or EVOS, occurred in 1989 due to contamination from human activities and natural sources, which allowed observers to see the environmental effects clearly. It happened at the beginning of the Oceanographic spring when there was an increase in the abundance of many species, which helped us detect the adverse effects. EVOS discharged at least 43,000 meters of crude oil in Prince William Sound, Alaska on March 23, 1989. The oil was pooling around in the tanker in the calm sea for 2.5 days until the storm winds drove the oil southwest towards the Gulf of Alaska while oiling the shorelines on the way. This disaster killed an estimated 250,000 seabirds, 3,000 otters, 300 seals, 250 bald eagles, and 22 killer whales. Another major oil spill is the Gulf War oil spill. The Gulf War oil spill is considered the worst oil spill in U.S. history. Inside days of the April 2010 blast and sinking of the Deepwater Horizon oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico, which killed 11 individuals, underwater cameras uncovered the BP pipe was spilling oil and gas on the sea depths around 42 miles off the bank of Louisiana. When the well was capped on July 15, 2010, after 87 days, an expected 3.19 million barrels of oil had spilled into the Gulf. The well was located over 5,000 feet beneath the water's surface in the deep sea, which is a permanently dark environment. This area is marked as a place with constantly cold temperatures, just above freezing, and extremely high pressures. Scientists divide the ocean into at least 3 zones, and the deep ocean accounts for about 3/4 of the Earth's total ocean volume, which tells us a lot about the effects that it may have caused. With oil spills, there also comes the effects, and effects on marine organisms are one of the bigger ones. Oil destroys the insulating ability of fur-bearing mammals such as sea otters and the water repellency of a bird's feather, which puts these animals in danger. Without the ability to repel water and insulate from the cold water, birds and mammals could die from hypothermia. Juvenile sea turtles could also be trapped in the oil and mistake it for food. Dolphins and whales could also inhale the oil, which could be harmful for their immune function and reproduction. Marine animals, such as shellfish, may not be exposed to it immediately, but they could come in contact with it if it's mixed in the water column. When exposed to oil, adult fish may experience reduced growth and large livers, changes in heart and respiration rates, fin erosion, and reproduction impairment. Fish eggs and larvae can be especially sensitive to lethal and sublethal impacts. Even when lethal impacts are not observed, oil can make fish and shellfish unsafe for humans to eat. Destruction of corals is mainly caused by human activities, and one of them includes oil spills. The U.S. Coast Guard estimates that sewage treatment plants discharge twice as much oil into coastal waters as do tanker accidents. In addition to hydrocarbons, lubricating oils and sewage contain chemical additives, heavy metals, and nutrients that pollute coastlines and disrupt the normal functioning of organisms and ecosystems. Consequences of chronic oil pollution include a complete lack of colonization by reef-building corals in areas chronically polluted by oil, a decrease in colony viability, damage to the reproductive system of corals, lower life expectancy of coral larvae, which are called planulae, and abnormal behavioral responses of planulae and corals. Even though oil spills may have an environmental effect, it also has an economic effect. In addition to costs incurred by cleanup activities, serious economic losses can be experienced by industries and individuals dependent on coastal resources. One such industry is the tourism industry. Disruptions of recreational activities such as swimming, boating, angling, and diving caused by oil-contaminated shores are not for long because it will resume when the shorelines are cleaned. However, more long-term and damaging economic impacts can occur when public perception of prolonged and wide-scale pollution remains long after the oil has gone. Places such as transport companies, national parks, and other local tourism-dependent businesses could be affected. Another industry that is impacted by oil spills are the fisheries. The physical contamination can affect stocks and disrupt business activities by fouling gear or impeding access to fishing sites. The economic impacts on fisheries also depend on the characteristics of the spilled oil, the circumstances of the incident, the type of fishing activity or business affected, and the environmental characteristics of the marine environment and coast. So what are some response plans for oil spills? Oil spills can have extensive environmental and economic impacts. Current response techniques include mechanical containment and recovery of spilled oil, as well as the addition of chemical dispersants and physical cleanup of shorelines. The primary combat strategy is mechanically containing and recovering oil using different types of booms, barriers, and skimmers, as well as the application of natural or synthetic sorbent materials. Containment booms are typically used in surface waters as barriers to control the oil from spreading and impacting shorelines or other marine resources like aquaculture facilities. Dispersants, however, are mixtures of surfactants and solvents that reduce spilled oil into small droplets by the action of waves and currents. They are also mainly used in open and deep waters. Dispersants are effective when applied immediately following a spill before the lightest HC components volatilize, and their performance depends on water salinity, temperature, and wave action. Now that we know some cleanup techniques, what are some prevention techniques? According to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, there are 2 oil spill prevention programs: the Spill Prevention Control and Countermeasure, or the SPCC, and the Facility Response Plan, the FRP rules. So what the SPCC does is it helps facilities prevent a discharge of oil into navigable waters or adjoining shorelines. It was originally published in 1973 under the authority of the Clean Water Act. Its requirements include the prevention of, preparedness for, and response to oil discharges at specific non-transportation related facilities. Another prevention plan is the FRP, or the Facility Response Plan, which requires certain facilities that store and use oil to prepare and submit an FRP. And what an FRP does is that it demonstrates a facility's preparedness to respond to a worst-case oil spill. As people, it is important for us to take care of our oceans, as it is a vital part of our Earth. We should all do our part and make sure that we do not put unnecessary waste into the Earth's ocean. Thank you.